We're here with Nathan Goodwin, Esports Coordinator in Emporia State University. Nathan, thank you so much for being here with us and for adding value.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, before we start delving in the conversation, like, can you explain like a bit? You explain behind the scenes, but now can you explain to our students like your journey into becoming a esports coordinator in Emporia State?
Yeah, of course. So I came to Emporia State as a student in the fall semester of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And being a big fan of esports, I noticed that they didn't have like an esports club or group on campus. So I decided to start my own. We ended up growing very, very quickly as a club. We had 50 members in about a month. And it wasn't long before a few professors approached me and said, "Hey, we really like what you're doing. We want to make this an official varsity program," which was very exciting for me. So I got to work with them. I got to help write the proposal, set a budget, talk to some committees and stuff. And we ended up getting a grant from our city to start this official varsity program. The program itself just started last semester. We're going into our second semester of being, and ever since then, we've had a massive amount of support from both our students and also our staff and faculty in helping us sort of grow as a program.
That's great. And do you empower students to open positions within the program to make it grow in areas that you need? How does that work? And what student positions do you have right now?
Yeah, so that is actually a big highlight of what we try to do here. We are not focused on being the best teams out there. We're not trying to get our players to go pro. Instead, we want to give our students as much real world experience as they can to prepare them for their future. So, actually, our program has a lot of open student positions for it. For example, we don't just have student players, but we also have student coaches, we have student managers for each of the teams. We have student social media promoters that design and create posts that go on the official ESU social media pages. Our students also build the broadcasts and they work the streams for any live streaming that we do. They also shoutcast and commentate on the streams and that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Our program is completely set on setting up these students for success. Those are the positions that we have right now, but oftentimes I get approached by students who want to do something. For example, I had a student that came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm interested in helping running the arena, sort of managing the space and learning how to do that." So I'm now working with him to develop a student worker position for him to do that. So we really want to try to give students as much opportunity as possible to learn and grow and get them ready for life after college.
That's great. And how do you, especially those freshmen, how do you make them have a balance between academics, practice, competition, and social life? Like, how's that balance, and how you make sure that they have the full college experience and they don't burn out? Because first year students, you usually want to do 10,000 things,
Oh,
but
mhm. Yeah, I am as a recent student. I am very familiar with the passion that freshmen come in with, and that is something that I very much strive for is getting that work life balance. Luckily, being a part of a team, or most of our esports are team games, that kind of comes with the social aspect. So they have their friends, they have their connections that they can reach out to if they need any extra support. But I definitely strive on setting limits for what my students have to do in the program. We don't have strict schedules. We don't, make our students practice for 8 hours a day. Instead, they choose together a small lenient
Mhm.
schedule that works for them. And then other than that, I actually have to push them sometimes to say, "Hey, stop playing, get some sleep. Go eat something, do your homework." But those are values that I install from day one. And sometimes it takes a little bit for these new gamers to really get that and incorporate that. But I am proud to say it only takes a couple of months of pushing before I can really install that balance of of, sure, like this is what you're doing for a scholarship, this is what you're doing for fun with your team, but also you have these other responsibilities and duties, not just to yourself but also to your classes. So yeah, that is a balance that I strictly enforce.
And are there any other values that you mentioned or skills that you would like to develop in the students in the coming years for them to be prepared for the workforce once they graduate?
Yeah, so speaking primarily to the actual players of our teams, the main values that I'm trying to incorporate them are, one, how to work as a team, because it doesn't matter where you go in, like what field you go into after college, you're going to be working with a team. You're going to be working with coworkers. So learning how to work with them, how to work ethic, how to share work, and have accountability. That is something that is really important to me that my students get. The second value that we really try to install is how to set and meet goals. At the beginning of every semester, that's the first thing that we do. As I make sure that each team have a set list of goals and objectives that they want to do as a team, and
Mhm.
then find ways for them to track their process, their metrics, and not only that, but learn how to reflect on them. If they're a few weeks in and they realize that the goals they set were too hard or maybe too easy, they can look at them and then tweak them to get something that will really push them without making them have to work too hard. So yeah, those are the two things that I really try to have my players take away from their time here, is how to work as a team and how to set and meet goals.
That's right. And for students that like may have a burnout or want to be more into physical education or nutrition, like do you have those resources from maybe from the athletic department that students can go to if they want to increase their performance or they want to have a more like healthy balance life, because we're seeing this more and more
Mhm.
in the esports scene, so that's something, curiosity basically.
Yeah, so that is another value that we try to have with the whole work-life balance, is also making sure that my students are at least a little bit physically well.
Mhm.
Because when you're gaming for so long, doing it so often, that kind of leads to a sedentary lifestyle, and it also risks getting repetitive strain injuries in your wrist or your back or your
Mhm.
shoulders. So first of all, that is part of our handbook, is that students are required to do stretches before and after every single practice, along with standing and walking around between games. Just a little bit of movement here and there can really go the distance between whether or not our students get a repetitive strain injury or not. That being said, our university does have a really robust physical education program and a gym that is free to all students that they can use to, get some cardio in, lift some weights. And a few of my students do that. I don't enforce that, but a few of my athletes do that.
What about like the team bonding activities? Are you planning on doing some? And what activities do you have in mind for like students to like bond?
So this is one thing that I want to sit down with my coaches for each of the teams and really sort of flesh out. But yeah, I really want to make some team building activities, or more importantly, some rituals. One thing that I will also be requiring is that every team has a team chant, and before every single match that they're playing against another university, they have to go into a huddle and they have to do their chant. That's just it seems a little silly at first, but after a couple times of doing it, the students really seem respondent to that. But yeah, I'm going to be working with my coach this semester to come up with some different team building activities, things that they want to do with their teams. Because again, we try to put as much emphasis on the students as possible. And yeah, the more we can, build that team chemistry, not only the better will they play, but the more fun and fulfillment they will get from their time at college.
That's right. And with the scheduling of classes and practice, how do you work around that? Do you talk with the tutor of the students, or do you talk to students like, this is a practice time, please schedule classes before or after? how do you manage this? Because usually, like, it's very important for parents, like, who know that their kid is gonna have like a structure, and nothing is gonna
Mhm.
interfere, and he's gonna go, where
Yeah.
one.
Definitely. So when it comes to setting schedules, that is something that the teams do in themselves the first week of classes. We already have it on the calendar for everyone to get together, and that's one of the things that we're going to be doing is setting the schedules. So students will be able to say, "Oh, I can't practice Tuesdays at 6. I have work, or I have a class, or something like that." So my students can work together to get a schedule that works for them. As for the actual schedules themselves, like I mentioned before, I really don't try to push my students too much. So I set a minimum of 6 hours of practice and match times a week, which is rather flexible. Oftentimes, my teams want to do more than that. They'll stretch to 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I don't encourage them to go any more than that. I have to stop them at some point. Sometimes they want to play too much. But that minimum of 6 hours kind of hits a sweet spot where no matter what your schedule is, you're going to be able to find that minimum amount of time. So we've never had scheduling conflicts when it comes to practices. All our teams have an equal say into when they will be committing to their practices.
That's great. And for coaching positions, would it be for students that want to pursue a bachelor's and a master's degree, or you're only looking for assistant coaches? What is your because you mentioned before that also students can be coaches, but like, it's not like in traditional sports, or because in traditional sports you have to be an assistant coach in order to,
Mhm.
yeah, and you have to do a master's. But in esports, is it the same, or can a student also do a bachelor's degree and be a coach if he's an experienced coach and can add value to the program? How would that work?
Yeah, so our coaches do not have to be a certain degree. They don't have to have, any sort of background in that, or trying to become an esports coach in the professional world. Instead, our students need two things. One, they need at least a little bit of skill in the game. They have to understand the game well enough to help others. They don't have to be amazing at the game. They don't have to be, top 1% or whatever. But they do have to show. A really good understanding of the game they're in. And two, they need to show initiative. They need to show that they want to lead. Some of my students, or some of my coaches, one of my coaches is actually an education major. He likes teaching. That's what he wants to do. So him being a
Mhm.
coach is rather influential to that. It can directly give him some teaching experience. Another one of my coaches doesn't actually want to play. They feel a little bit too pressured to be on the grind and to be their best, but they understand the game enough that they want to teach. They want to coach. It allows them to be involved. It allows them to participate with their friends without having to grind the game and get really good. Another one of my coaches wants to go into management, wants to go into leadership. So again, this is a great way for him to learn how to manage a team and how to set expectations and help his teammates hit that. So there are a lot of different ways that my students want to get into coaching, but no matter where they go into, it's helping them in some way or another get ready for the world after college.
Yeah, and for the world after college, what would you say is like the ratio of like students in your program that want to go into the esport industry, and what are the other ratio that just they want to go to a workforce in the major they study? What is that ratio? Is it a big difference? Is it balanced?
I would say it's about 20% of our students want to work in the esports industry. And those people I make sure to pay special attention to. If they want to work within, let's say they want to work in operations and events management, they want to learn how to throw the big tournaments. Well, then that's exactly what they'll do working in my program. Anytime we host any sort of local event or we're traveling to a tournament, they will directly help with that. They will get hands-on experience in how to set up and organize an event. And if we are traveling to another event, I will make sure that they have an opportunity to talk to the people running that event, so that they can see how they are running their event. To again, just getting these students as much experience that they want. That's going to prepare them for wherever they want to go after college.
That's right. And what is like your vision, like, because you mentioned before that you, for now, for this coming years, you don't, your objective is not to be like the best competitive uh, program, but you rather develop like the skills of the of the students in the program. But what would you say like in the next 5 years that you want to focus on more, is like for your students to like, what is going to set you apart from the other esports programs, like here from for 5 years? What are you working on? What is your vision?
So my vision for this program in 5 years is that we can build a really healthy space where gamers can come and reliably have a group of friends for them to talk to, because honestly it is such a problem. A lot of these hardcore gamers, just by the nature of what they do, they don't have a lot of social connections. They don't have a lot of friends. I was one of those people. I went through high school and a lot of my early college just not being able to connect with people. And before I started the club on campus, there were dozens of students like that who really just didn't have anyone to talk to. So my vision is to take these gamers and give them a place to go, a place to flourish. And not only that, it is my goal for me to make these gamers run the program 99%. Right now they're doing about 70-80% of the work. I'm picking up the other 20. My end goal is for them to do 99% of the work. Again, I'm trying to get these guys ready for the outside world. I want them to feel prepared. I want them to feel like they have some job skills to take out into the market. And the only way they're going to get that from me is if they're actually doing things. So I want to get these students out of the dark. I want to get them socializing and in a healthy environment. And then once they're in that environment, I want to teach them how to do the things that they want to do after college.
That's great, Nathan. Just to wrap this up, like, where can people find, what people, students find you and your program on social media?
So the best places to reach out are to go to our website, which is emporia.edu/esports, or you can also send an email to me directly at the email esports@emporia.edu. There's more information on our website about it. There's also an interest form if you want to learn more, or you're thinking about coming to Emporia and you want to learn more about some of the details. You can reach out to me either by the interest form or the email.
Nathan, thank you so much for your time. We stay in touch.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great time.